Welcome to the near final session of the day. We are saving, I think, the best till near last, because we're going to now talk about what is genuinely, possibly, a world first. We're breaking seriously new ground, and we're breaking it in Coventry, and we're breaking it with very light rail. So I'm really pleased that we've got Nicola and Ian here to talk about it. Let's start by talking about where does this idea come from? Nicola, talk to us. How does a combined authority in the West Midlands come up with an idea which is potentially going to change the way we do metros forever?
Well, you need a Colin Knight, and Colin Knight's somewhere in the audience. So, yes, I will name and shame Colin Knight for coming up with the original concept about how do you innovate in the track form, really. So Colin, as a civil engineer, had this ingenious idea back in 2016 around if you could create a very light vehicle, could that facilitate a shallow track form? And by having a shallow track form, could that speed up the delivery and reduce the cost of light rail in the UK?
Fabulous. So what does it look like? And I don't actually have a clicker.
You've got some slides, haven't you?
I do have some slides. If you could switch to the slides,
I'll
be able to show people what it is.
Ta-da!
So, yes, so here are my slides. I'll go up there because I can move them forward.
That's the
So, for those of you that don't know what very light rail is, it comprises of, it's a system, so it comprises of a very light vehicle and a shallow track form. And this is the vehicle. So we've only got the one prototype, but this was about proof of concept. So we worked back in 2017 with our university, who contracted with partners in the region to innovate in this vehicle development and a novel form of track. So the vehicle, it's fully battery operated, no requirement for overhead line equipment, and the real innovation here is in the bogie. So it's capable of going around a 15-metre curve, which means you don't need your compulsory purchase orders and taking out buildings, and it facilitates ease of design. So with the vehicle, we foresee a future where autonomy exists, where you'd run a high-frequency service with a number of vehicles in operation, and you'd flex the service to suit the demand of the city. And that's why we've gone for a small modular design, because a lot of vehicles with 200 capacity aren't required in the middle of the day, and so quite often they're carrying fresh air. So what we want for our city is high-frequency services that meet the demands of the city. But the real innovation and where the greatest opportunity to drive down cost and programme delivery times comes in the track form. So I've just used one image here to try and depict what the track form is, because what we've done is brought together existing components from the industry, from the supply chain, but we've brought them together in a clever way. And we're using a new material, it's a new material to the UK called ultra-high performance fibre reinforced concrete. And you can see on the image there the reinforcement. And what we've found with this is that with just 10 centimetres of ultra-high performance concrete, you've got a slab that you can use in most roads in the UK. And that's part of our next test, is to prove that you can install this slab quickly and cost efficiently into a standard road. So the rail standard, the fastening equipment is standard, but the slab gives us the real innovation. And what we've also found through our tests is that with some minor modifications, you could use this slab for conventional rail, which is a great opportunity for the UK, and why it's really exciting for us to be able to be working with industry partners now to bring this to commercialisation as a commercial product that other cities can deploy for conventional tram systems. So we do have some of our suppliers in the room. So if you want to talk to any of them about VLR, we've got Waterman Aspen here that supply our team, so our team of specialists that we work with. We've got Arup as our lead designer on the next phase. They're in partnership with Tony G. They've got stands here, and of course we've got our construction partner, Colas Rail, here, that have worked with us over the last 6 years on this project and helped us develop it to the state it is today. So what have we been doing behind the scenes? We've been testing this new innovation, firstly behind closed doors, so you'll have seen press about it, but we were busy proving the slab out, installing it in, at the University of Warwick, then at our refuse collections depot, and then in Dudley at the Innovation Centre, where we were testing its performance under heavy goods vehicle loadings, and then as an integrated system with our vehicle. And we've got multiple years data now proving that the slab is outperforming our expectations in terms of its performance and can take the lateral loads from heavy goods vehicles, which is the greatest risk to the track form. But last summer we had the opportunity to bring the test to life and bring it to Coventry City Centre, and we installed 220 metres of track into a city centre environment, and we brought a tram over and we operated it on the track in 10 weeks, which was game-changing for the industry. It was the first time we were able to do that. Working with the Colas team, we all worked hard together to overcome problems on site, and there were problems on site. We discovered cobbles under the highway and other challenges with levels, but we overcame them together, and we still managed to do it within the time that we said we would. So this was the test site, and it was by and large to prove that you could install the technology in a live environment in the time we said you could and at the price we said you could. And of course, working with utilities to prove that you could put it on top of their equipment. So in this location, there's 7 Trent equipment, National Grid, there's some comms. And so we worked closely with our key stakeholder, because if they don't collaborate with us or don't agree to allow us to build on top of their equipment, then we'll fail as a project. So it's really important we work with them. We're not saying that you build on top of everything. There are, cast iron mains. You've got to take a risk-based approach to utilities, but the principle is that you can leave the majority of utilities in situ. And with modern day technology in the utilities industry, how do you access their equipment? There's new techniques out there, keyhole coring, vacuum excavation. There are new modes of innovation that you can use to access utilities should you require that. So the next test for us is a more complex environment. It's 800 metres. We're delighted to be working with industry now, as I mentioned, our partners, to be able to bring this to life. It is more complex. There are more businesses, more homes on this route. There's more utilities. The road camber in Park Road is a challenge. Even the construction of the road in that area is going to present challenges, but it's absolutely right that we take the research and development a step further. We do, as the Chief Scientific Advisor said this morning, you need to work with academia and then with industry and then with policy to make sure all of those things align so that you can deliver new innovations quickly and make them commercial opportunities. So this test is a critical next step in the development of Coventry Very Light Rail, and we hope to be on site in July with Colas Rail, starting to put this. It is a more advanced slab. We put some more rebar into it. So with this advanced slab in the city centre environment. And the ultimate goal for us, of course, we're not doing it because we're trying to develop something for the UK. We are, but obviously we have a vision for Coventry. We're an ambitious city. We want our public transport to be well integrated, and we know we need a strong backbone to our transport system. So we want to have a very light rail scheme that connects the north of our city with the south, where we're going to have an investment zone. We'll have Gigapark there, and along the way you'll connect up key residential sites, university, the hospital, and park and ride locations. So we want that to be the backbone for our integrated transport system in Coventry. So that's at high level what VLR is and what we want to achieve in the long run for our city.
Well, it's amazing, isn't it? And just to be clear, Nicola,
Yeah.
Coventry, you have patented this as a technique, haven't you? So this is something which we talk about. This is an opportunity, a great opportunity for UK. This is something potentially, if we can scale it, if we can prove it works, this is something that we can sell to many cities around the world potentially.
I mean, that's the aspiration. We have patented the technology. We hope to license it out, and then with the income, be able to build for our own city.
So it's a fabulous story. And now you've mentioned Colas and Ian a few times there, and I guess this is where, again, everything's working seamlessly. You've had academia involved. Now we've gone to industry. Colas has built many light rail schemes all over Europe, all over the world, including many heavy rail schemes all over the world. So Ian, I mean, I guess starting at the principal level, is this exciting? Are you excited by this as a possibility?
Absolutely. I think see quite a few innovations come across our desk to look at. When this one came across, I will say the first call I had 6 years ago, come and have a look, we've got this really thin slab, it's going to be a game changer. All right, okay, well, we went out and had a look. But actually, as an engineer myself, I really believe in this. I think I can't comment on the vehicle. I'm not a rolling stock engineer at all. But the slab, with this ultra high strength concrete, the benefit here in highways, we need to make the point that the benefit here, the saving here, is not going below the formation level.
Yeah.
So if in your construction you are planing out 300 millimetres, which is the whole depth, is 1 foot, 300 millimetres. If you're planing that out, checking the California bearing ratio that you can then put the slabs on, which doesn't need to be particularly high, you can then put the slabs on, grout them in afterwards. The speed associated with that, compared with the traditional build, which, as you say, we've seen across the world, generally around the delay around utilities.
Yes.
It's comparable in terms of the time it takes to lay this track form to a standard track form. The benefit is you are not digging down a metre, you're not taking out ground, you're not messing about with utilities, you're not waiting for utilities contractors who are working for the utilities companies who've got no vested interest in speeding up the scheme to get things out of the way. And as a result of that, this is a real game changer. It could halve the time to build sections of work. And 10 weeks, it was a pretty straightforward section that we did, but the utilities in the way. But 10 weeks from literally the first spade in the ground to the vehicle running, operating on it, it's pretty good.
And and we can't underestimate the potential here, in so much as I appreciate we're speaking to a largely converted audience here in terms of understanding the challenges of working in streets and working with utilities. But across the UK, there are many examples of tram schemes, light rail schemes, which have not delivered what they wanted to because of the challenges of working in the streets, aren't there? And there are many studies have been done to discuss this. So this is if we can prove it, and this is a genuine opportunity to revitalise that whole sector for us, really.
Absolutely. The build of the track, once you get to track form level, the build of the track and onwards is pretty straightforward. You can see it. There's no surprises. The delays and the issues are in the ground below. So if you can avoid going into the ground below, you can avoid the unforeseen utilities that you're going to have. You can avoid the clashes. That's an absolute game changer. And I think, whilst for Coventry, it's really focused primarily for the city itself around the special vehicle and using that with small volumes. The really important thing, I think, to take this UK-wide and globally is, could you use it with existing trams? Then you open up the market to all the existing networks that there are out there who have aspirations for extensions, but they can't afford the extensions because the capital costs are too high. If you can take out some of those capital costs, then suddenly the business cases stack up, and you don't need new rolling stock because you can run your traditional rolling stock on top of it.
So, as you say, we're early stage. You've done first test track has been laid in the streets.
Yep.
So how did that go? How did the public react to that? How did the householders and the shopkeepers and all the people who had been stakeholders to this? How did that go?
Well, it actually went really well. I mean, I'm always nervous, to be honest, when we're taking something out into the public, because it is a hard sell. It's research and development, and we are disrupting people's lives for a test. you know, and in the past, I mean, Colin had asked us to take it to Motorfest, and I felt like he was throwing us under the proverbial bus because, you know, it's an opportunity for the public to come and complain.
Yes.
And to have access to officers of the council, you're wearing your orange jacket and complain. But actually, it really spurred us on to have members of the public come up and say, what you're working on is brilliant. And I got a real sense that the city is really proud of its history in transport.
Yep.
And of innovation. And some of the stories and talking to people. And honestly, you wouldn't believe the types of people that came. I thought there'd be a stereotype, but there wasn't. There was all ages, both genders, all genders, and it really reflected, you know, the people of Coventry, and they loved the experience and the opportunity to try it out firsthand and give us their feedback, which was really positive.
Great. So the early signs from a sort of PR point of view, popular, successful. Technically then, Ian, in terms of laying the track as expected?
Yeah, absolutely. It's, as you said, we had a couple of problems with, or issues with the road formation not being as deep as expected and cobbles in the way, but that was a very minor blip. But you're going to get that. Yeah, it's, you know, the point is that there's not a lot that's hidden. You know, it's pretty much above board, you can see it. I think the key thing in the next development to take it potentially for wider trams is, are we going to go with overheads for traditional trams? So we then got to incorporate using some overheads and potentially a boot. So we're dealing with straight current, which this doesn't have to deal with straight current because it's just a battery development. But the next section that we're putting in is going to do that. So the first signs are really good in terms of the cost and the time in terms of delivery. And I can show four benefits in four key areas. It's cheaper. It's quicker. So there's less stakeholder issues and challenges, so the politicians are generally happier because the stakeholders are not on their back so much. Carbon benefit, you're not digging down below, digging out perfectly good ground around utilities to then go and put in newly quarried material back in its place. And from a safety point of view, you're not working around live utilities. So there's four areas straight off the bat where you can see there's a benefit across the board just from this simple mechanism of avoiding digging below the formation level.
Brilliant, great. Are we selling this? Are we liking the sound of this? Yes, we're getting nods. This is encouraging. We'll pursue this. We'll sell it some more. So next stage is to slightly more complex routing. Test out a few more of the challenges. You're hoping that's going to be this summer?
We're going to start this summer. Yeah.
So. And so how long will you sort of operate, monitor that? When will we sort of get the feeling and how successful that phase has been?
Well, we hope to. What we actually found when we built the first section is that lots of people wanted to come and see it during construction.
Oh, okay.
Because actually, once it's been constructed, it just looks like any other tramway. So we're going to make the most of that and invite people to come and see it. We're hoping to host our own conference this September whilst we're constructing so that we can share the learnings of that experience.
It'll need a host as well.
Yeah, so we're hoping to, if you want to come and host the conference for us. But yeah, we're hoping to work with Coventry University Techno Park and host an event there so that we can showcase the construction element of the project.
Yep.
And then we're in 2027, we do hope to bring back some demonstration of some kind of the integrated system. So that's the plan.
Excellent. I guess, whilst these phases are developing, are you doing any kind of outreach with other authorities here in the UK or elsewhere in the world? What's the marketing?
Yeah, so I do get invited to speak now at overseas conferences, and I always feel a bit imposter syndrome when I'm invited to speak overseas because, on the continent, they've done some great things with light rail, and I remember going to Zaragoza and they've got, catenary free right through the heart of a historic centre. But whenever I talk about the project, again, I'm always given new impetus that we need to carry on with this because if we're offering something that you can do quickly and affordably, who doesn't want that? And actually, the types of issues that they have on the continent, they've got historic city centres. water culverts. There's a whole number of reasons why you wouldn't want to dig deep. So I'm buoyed by that. There's definitely a market, particularly for the track form. And
think,
yes,
yeah.
we do work with the UK in terms of we're talking to Sheffield,
Yes.
South Yorkshire Combined Authority and Midland Metro, and looking at opportunities obviously in the region and more wider.
And there are a number of small, medium cities, large towns that are also very interested in understanding this as a potential for them to have a network on a similar basis to Coventry. So we're engaging with them, helping them in their development, as well as, I think, and another network in Ireland at the moment, a city in Ireland that's looking at a network and saying, some really proactive conversations with them about how it might help. So I think it's not, if you're going across a field, just use ballasted track. This is not the solution. But if you're in a highway in the city centre and you think you can have dense utilities, this is definitely something you should be considering as an option.
And are you, I guess, to what extent are you willing and able to put ever more energies into this as COLAS? I'm sort of thinking here. Is this something that COLAS can really see benefits in?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been involved in this for at least 6 years now along the journey, and feels like a partnership really in terms of helping develop it. And I think one of the reasons that we were approached in the first place is because we are a global light rail as well as heavy rail contractor. So the potential to market it globally and take it wherever it might be internationally, certainly something that we're very, very strongly advocating.
I mean, it's one of the. I mean, we were talking about it today on a different stage, but the resistance to innovation in the UK can be quite strong. We have for lots of good reasons some pretty stringent standards for most things we do. In railway, particularly, we have some very stringent standards which rarely get challenged. This is going to involve challenging some standards. So, I guess it's have you got the fight for it? I guess to sort of really kind of try and drive something new into the market, which hasn't been done before. It's great if you have.
But the light rail sector is far less heavily regulated than the heavy rail sector. Right. So there is scope to use your engineering principles and demonstrate that it's the right thing. And there's a lot of engagement already been taken with LRSSB. You've got consultants that are reviewing and checking the design of these to prove it going forward. The step we need to get over now is somebody needs to say, I'll try it not with heavy rail, but with traditional trams. It needs to get built into Sheffield or West Midlands Combined Authority area, the Midland Metro, or over in Ireland. Somebody needs to try it and run it with actual trams on and get that live data. That needs that brave, as ever with innovation, somebody needs to stick their head above the parapet and go, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah. And that's the next thing.
Yeah. Well, all the mayors are here today and tomorrow, so I'm assuming you're busy lobbying them all. So as a final exciting grand reveal, which mayor has shown most interest?
Oh.
That's probably one for you rather than me.
Really
what's quite interesting is that...
spot, isn't it? I mean, obviously, our own mayor in the West Midlands is very supportive of the work that we're doing.
Excellent.
But, we are keen to talk to the likes of Tracy Brabin for West Yorkshire. And up in Sheffield, we have, we've been working with the officers at South Yorkshire Combined Authority really well, so haven't engaged with the mayor yet, but watch this space.
Mark, I think it's fair to say we're promoting the fear of missing out, of not being the first.
Brilliant. Well, I'm excited by it. We're all excited by it. Yes, we are all very excited by it, so we wish you all the very best of luck with it. And, this time next year, let's be hearing more about it. Let's be seeing the photos of Phase 2 in operation and the big news of a big, exciting contract with Sheffield. So, exciting times ahead.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you both. It's brilliant. Thank you.